Go the other way. Hello, everybody. Go this way. Okay, I wanted to jump on here and do, sorry, I got smoothie mustache. Everybody who knows that I do a live knows that I'm always cleaning my mouth after I've eaten because I'm always eating. So I'm just give it a couple minutes. I know I was supposed to start at 3, but when you're doing a live spontaneously, no problem. And then when you decide to do a live that is structured and has a set time frame and all of that, then everything goes haywire. So my phone wasn't working right. I couldn't get the orientation right, and it took forever. And then I had to change where I was at, and so on and so on and so on. But the party must go on. So you just do it anyway. Even if you're running behind or if you're running late or something didn't happen the way that you wanted it to, but it's like you don't let it stop the party. Okay. So I'm going to get started. And most of you are probably going to get this on the replay, and that's just fine. But this is information that I feel like it needs to be said, and so I'm going to say it. And this is a book that was given to me. It's called My Friend Fear. Sorry. And it's by Meera Lee Patel. I know this is backwards, but just getting a visual of the book for you. It was given to me, I think back in May around my birthday time, from a beautiful friend / coach, Leanne. And it has been really, really nice. I'm taking my time reading it. I'm not even done yet. But lots of reminders are in there. Like I'm reading it and I'm like, I know that already. Thank you for reminding me. And then some new insight that I wasn't aware of. So I love books that can kind of remind me of the knowledge that I already have and give me something new to think about, right? Because it means that I'm expanding in that way. So I'm going to just share with you some of the pages in there that really speak to me. And as entrepreneurs, I know that fear is always like in our face. Fears are always there. You have to conquer yourself, i.e. conquer fears, to get to where you want to be in your business. Being an entrepreneur, you're going to have obstacles. I mean, life is full of obstacles regardless, but being an entrepreneur, you have a different set of obstacles now because you're not relying on a lot of outside resources. Same thing goes for home birthers. Same thing goes for homeschoolers. Because what it is you're the one. There's nothing to fall back on. No one to fall back on, I should say, except for yourself. And of course, divine God. So, coming to those understandings of like, it's you, boo. It's all you. So, if you look back at your life, at the things that you've conquered, then you'll see how you've had to overcome some type of fear to get on the other side of what you really wanted. Even if it's like going to college, driving, getting your license, teenager. Everything is an overcoming of some type of fears that we have. And then we overcome it and we get stronger. So this whole year for me has been conquering fears. Last year, I went through a stage where I let the fears kind of sink in and debilitate me. And the coaching that I received was monumental. It helped me to shift my mindset around those fears and to notice them. A lot of things transpired because of those fears that I had to dig deeper into the fears to see what it was trying to tell me, and it was just very eye-opening. So I've been debunking all the fears, seeing them as myths, and then just sitting with them and like, what is it that you want me to know, fear? And if we really look close at it, the things that we want most in life, we normally don't obtain because of a fear that we have. So let's say, for example, like fear of flying, but your heart desires to go to, I don't know, let's say you're in California, you want to go to Florida, but you're afraid to fly. But that's like been your dream to go visit Florida. You just really want to do that for some reason. You're being called and you're just so afraid of flying. And then once you do that, the momentum starts and you're like, okay, where else am I going to go? I did it. I'm alive. I'm good. God kept me. I'm safe. What do I want to do next? Literally, that's how it happens. So you look at the fears, you conquer the fears, and you might get a new one that pops up. And you're like, okay, well, what is this fear about? It kept me safe this long, maybe, or maybe it kept me small. Whatever it was, I don't need it anymore. So let's debunk that fear. And then you overcome that fear. And that's what this whole process is about. Overcoming. And don't be afraid of it. Because when we're afraid, then we're stuck. We're stuck right here. We can't go to the next step. And that is when we lose our happiness, we lose our joy, because life is not meant to be stagnant. Life is moving, ever changing, ever moving, always evolving. And we know that as humans. We know that innately within us, that we're always supposed to be evolving and leveling up and getting better, right? Whatever that means for you, better, right? So if we know this wisdom, then why aren't we doing it? Because of fear, right? So I'm going to, I kind of bookmarked the spaces, but you'll have to be patient with me because I didn't underline everything that I want to say. But I'm going to try to move through it as quickly as I can. So just bear with me. Like all other emotions, fear is born in the mind. It's rooted in our brains, the same magical instrument that fills us with wonder and awe and incomprehensible joy. I was just saying that. What prompts fear to take birth in us changes constantly. Its birth is dependent on our circumstances and abilities to lasso our emotions. But one thing is for certain, fear did not arrive here in our minds on its own. Our culture tells us to be afraid of our power, afraid of our vulnerability, afraid of money because it corrupts, but also be afraid of poverty because you don't want to be broke, right? So there's fears all around us, always trying to tell us that we're not good enough just as we are, that we should be like someone else. But the key is to knowing your own soul's purpose and your own path, so that leveling up is not about outshining someone else or obtaining something that someone else has, but more internal. That your level up is about your ascension here on this plane, everything that you came to learn and explore, and how when you do that, you can pass that on to your children to do the same. How far can we explore this life, right? So that's something to think about. We are continually told that changing ourselves is the only way we'll ever be accepted, loved, cherished, or seen. And I want you to understand that as you are right now, you are accepted, you're loved, and you're cherished right now. And when you can feel that up in every ounce of your body, then you'll automatically up level. You'll just see things brighter. You'll love deeper. It's the awareness that comes from within you. It doesn't look like just necessarily more money, more fame, or more of the things that are lower vibration in some cases. But it's an internal thing. It's a spiritual growth. That's where the joy is. Okay. And I had to sit with that a while myself. I'll just use me as an example, because sometimes I'll look at my circumstances and it'll feel like, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. But if I focus on if I focus on the things that I don't have, then I'm missing all of the things that I've accomplished within me, what I've overcome, what are the fears that I've conquered, what are the things that I used to look at that might have, felt harming of myself, and not holding myself at a higher standard and seeing myself in the light that I am. So those are the things that I've been working on, me, for the last, oh my gosh, forever, but really deeply the last year or so. And so to dismiss that is a disservice to us, right? Say hello. So don't dismiss that. Don't look at your outside circumstances, tangible things, as a way to what is the word I'm looking for? As a way to where does that word, Adia? You took the word out of my head. To see where you've grown from here to here. I can't find the word that I'm looking for. But you know what I'm saying. Don't use that as a measuring tool. Your circumstances or the things that you've obtained, the things that you have, or even things being easy or hard. We don't look at those things as, sorry, boobs, no boob puppy, as a way of, if you're growing, if you're elevating, and if you're getting more enlightened or more aware of yourself. Adi, not right now. Okay, so I want to say that. Okay, we are not alone in our fears. Look around you. Every person you see is afraid of something. Some are small fears, like losing your keys. Some are big, like losing a loved one. But they live inside each one of us. Many of the fears we carry are justified, but many, 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 many more begin as a reasonable concern before quickly evolving into irrational beasts, right? So I think someone used the FEAR acronym as false evidence appearing true. And that is like really, really, really key here, is to understand that most of your fears are not even embedded in the truth of anything, meaning they all started here and will end here. Now, some of them stem from an incident that has happened, and that's understandable. That still takes a level of healing and that was then, this is now type of mindset. Okay, understanding that just because something has happened in the past does not necessarily mean that it has to happen again in the future. Our brain is designed to protect us. It doesn't always know the difference between facing a hungry shark or saying hello to a stranger. And that's so true. The way that fear feels in your body has nothing to do with the outside circumstances. The body doesn't know if you're being chased by a bear or if you're just going on an interview and you're having an anxiety problem and you're just really nervous and fearful. The body is still going to simulate fear the same. Okay. Sit with your fears. Irrational fears are stories that we weave into long spinning tales We tell these stories to ourselves repeatedly, choosing colors and feelings to accompany each twist, creating entire paintings of how each story will unfortunately unfold. That's true. We'll start with an idea, and then we'll play the idea out in our head, and then we'll even get to the ending of the story and how it's going to end, and our demise or something awful is going to happen, right? How unmotivating is that? Right? And I've done it. I'm sure many people have done it. I'm super analytical and very an overthinker, and I can use my thoughts against me easily if I allow it. So that's why my practice of meditation, prayer, being in silence, and really just looking at my mind and where it goes became really important to me, because I just understand how those things can spiral out of hand and it will debilitate you, right? And you're sitting there and you're wondering, how come I'm not getting this result or that result, or how come I'm not feeling more alive than I am? More joyful. And it's because we're still living in those fears. We're living in the shadows of our truth. And so recognizing that first is key. Accepting your fears is the only way to overcome them. Fear isn't something that wants to stay hidden inside you, preventing you from moving forward. Fear wants to quietly shine beside you, helping you find your path. Becoming aware of why you are afraid is the next step. So I began asking myself a second question. Why am I afraid? So once you notice the fear, then you're going to try to get to know that fear. Walk with me, fear. Let me know what it is that you want me to know. Where did you come from? What are you trying to protect me from? Is that valid? Is there any proof that I need to be protected from that? So really, really getting to the key of that. When we're living in a place of fear, the stories that our mind will create is normally more harming than good. So taking care of your thoughts and what it is that your emotions are trying to tell you, your thoughts, everything. Be really, really clear with yourself and get to know yourself well and feeling those things out. Okay. It's okay to be afraid. All it means is that there is something you care deeply about. It's okay to have fears as long as you are willing to explore them. It's okay to hug your fears closely, to poke and prod and discover what's underneath that heavy, dark cloak. The reason it's so hard to see fear as a friend is that we let it remind us of what we don't want instead of what we do, which is going back to what I said. We'll end up focusing on the negative, all of the turmoil and all of the bad, and that will spiral out of control, and it will have you thinking nothing but negative and seeing nothing but negative when you're in that space. Yes. Instead of what we do want. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be accepted. I was afraid of never having those things, but I wasn't even giving myself a chance to find them. I wanted to be on a path, but I was afraid of walking. I had to take the first step, and I had to take it with fear by my side instead of in front of me, blocking my path. So we're walking with fear because fear is our friend. And fear is on the other side of everything you ever wanted. That's why love and fear are always within common ground, because the thing that we want the most in this life is to explore love. That's what it all comes down to. And the decisions we make are normally based on fear or love. And sometimes we don't know that we're choosing fear. But we'll quickly realize that we're choosing fear because our surroundings, everything outside of us, will start to mimic what we don't want. Light bulb. And then we're like, wait, this is not looking like what I signed up for. This will let us know that we've let fear get in front of us instead of staying on the side or even behind us. So we walk with our fears because it's always bringing us closer to what we most want to make us happy, to make us love more. Okay. And this is a little story she had put in here about a friend that had graduated with a 4.0 GPA, with her teaching degree, early childhood teacher. Yeah. And anyway, she's going out, and the fears that she has is, what if she didn't get a job? What if she wasn't good enough of a teacher? What if her students didn't feel cared for? What if her students didn't thrive, right? As soon as she graduated, she began carrying with her the well-being of hundreds of children that she hadn't even met yet. And she carried it everywhere she went. So those fears were ingrained in her through her thoughts, and she carried that. And will it play out that way? Normally it doesn't. In most cases, it never plays out that way. Our fears do not play out, thank God. But they can if we continue to keep that story on repeat, and we're not doing the conscious awareness of them, the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings and the things that we need to heal, the things that we need to do to get out of our way. The single greatest step we can take, and I'm almost done, by the way, the single greatest step we can take to change the position fear plays in our lives is also the most essential. Learning to see it when it appears. This sounds easy, but as humans, our species is notorious for failing to recognize truths that are usually right in front of us. The fastest way to summon your fears at any time is simple. All you need to do is look at yourself. That's why I was saying, get in touch with who you are. Learn yourself. Conquer yourself. Master yourself. That's all that's ever needed. It's a self-awareness. And there was a study done by a psychologist, Giovanni Caputo. And he was studying people and what they saw in the mirror when they looked at themselves, and how many people saw distorted images of what was actually there. Most people would see something, but the actual person saw something totally different. And in most cases, what they saw was not coming from a good space. So self-sabotaging ways, the bad things that we see about ourselves and that we highlight that no one else is even paying attention to or can see, but we highlight those things within ourselves unnecessarily. So there are truths hidden inside all of us, and because they are painful to see, we keep them buried under layers of flesh and bone, choosing instead to never look at them. Most of the time we pretend our fear doesn't exist, but it does. And like the reflection in Caputo's experiment, sometimes it appears in the most startling of ways. And this is the last piece, and I'll leave you guys with this. Exploring a feeling closely dissolves the hold that it has over you, and resisting only ensures that it will linger. I know this for a fact. Same thing with your emotions. If you're not allowing space for those emotions, they will eat away at your spirit and you won't feel good about it. It's how we continue to repeat the stories that we're telling ourselves about certain situations, about certain people. So ask yourself, what am I afraid of? This particular person says not being accepted. Why am I afraid of it? I want to belong. What will happen if I don't? Then I will be alone. Loneliness. So what if you're alone? Nothing? Aren't you alone right now? Yes. Does your heart hurt? Sometimes. And aren't you still here? Doesn't every ache serve as a reminder to learn and grow? Don't you have the chance to take another breath and to turn this all around? Yes, yes, yes. And I love that. We peel back the fear and see that there's nothing hiding behind it. We begin to understand it. Like a cut that gives way to healing, periods of discomfort shepherds us into moments of intense clarity. If we don't accept ourselves, who will? It feels overwhelming because it's an acceptance of immense responsibility. We are accountable for cultivating our own sense of belonging, not someone else. Boom. So I'm going to reread these questions because you can write them down and you can journal and you can ask yourself these questions whenever you feel. Checking in weekly, monthly. So the first one was, what am I afraid of? The next one is, why am I afraid of it? The next one is, what will happen? Oh, so you're going to say why you're afraid of it. What will happen if that doesn't happen? If that makes sense. And then whatever that answer is, what if that happens? Isn't it possible that that can happen anyway? Where's the pain? Where's the emotion? And then it talks about you still being here. You still have breath, which means you still have work to do. So basically, are you going to leave that fear in place and keep you? Or are you going to choose to release it and do the thing anyway? I hope you do choose to do the thing anyways. Okay, drop any questions or concerns. Let me know how you took to this little passage through the book of My Friend Fear. Hopefully some of you guys can get it for yourselves and read it. I'd love to hear your take on it and how you like it. Okay, peace, blessings.